Hello everyone, my name is Tina and I am going to talk to you a little bit today about WRAP. WRAP stands for Wellness Recovery Action Plan. When I first came to Spindletop almost 4 years ago, I was introduced to WRAP. And as they began to share with me what WRAP was about, I discovered that I had already really been working to WRAP. I just didn't have the structure for it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about wellness and recovery, and I'm going to talk about the different ways that you can use WRAP. Some people feel like, okay, well, I don't have a mental health diagnosis, so I couldn't come up with a WRAP plan. And nothing can be further from the truth. WRAP is a wellness recovery action plan, and it is designed to be used by anyone for anything. If you're going through a divorce, you can create a WRAP plan. If you are trying to quit smoking cigarettes, you can create a WRAP plan. If you are battling with substance abuse, you can create a WRAP plan, as well as having a mental health diagnosis, because that's basically, Mary Ellen Copeland was the one who came up with the WRAP plan, and it was originally designed for people who were having mental health challenges. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about WRAP. I'm going to talk about the key concepts, and I'm going to talk about the different things that pertain to WRAP. The first key concept for WRAP is hope. Hope for me is the thing that anchors me in my recovery. A lot of times when people are dealing with mental health diagnoses or when they're dealing with substance abuse, we have had times where we were in really dark places. I can remember there was a time in my life, in my recovery, to where I was in a hopeless state of mind, where I really didn't feel like I was gonna live and didn't even really know if I wanted to live. But I can remember that there was a still voice that came to me one time in the pits of my despair, and it told me just to hold on. It told me to hang on and to run on and to see what the end was gonna bring. Because again, like I said, I was in such a hopeless state, I really didn't know what was gonna become of me. The reason why I like the fact that hope is one of the key concepts is because we as peers, we instill hope in each other. When I do my WRAP classes, I like to talk to my peers about what it was like, what I went through, and then I like to tell them about what it is like now. And I found that by sharing my story and sharing my experience, strength, and hope, that I am able to instill hope into my peers. When I learned about hope, as we were going through a WRAP class one day, an acronym fell in my spirit for hope. And the acronym is Hold On, Pain Ends. And I just thought that that was so powerful. That is such a powerful thing to give to somebody when they are feeling hopeless. So hope is the very first key concept to your WRAP plan. The second key concept is personal responsibility. Personal responsibility for me is me taking personal responsibility for my wellness and my recovery. Many times in my life, as I went through the things that I went through, I would be one that would blame everything on everybody else. It was everybody else's fault that my bills didn't get paid. It was everybody else's fault that I wasn't taking my medication. But as I began to take WRAP, I began to understand the importance of personal responsibility. So today, as I work my WRAP, I have personal responsibility for the things that pertain to my recovery. Like today, I know that I'm personally responsible for setting and keeping my doctor's appointments. Today, I'm personally responsible for making sure that I'm taking my medication. I am what they consider co-occurring or dual diagnosed. I have a substance abuse issue as well as a mental health diagnosis. So for me, I have several things that I have to make sure that I do on a daily basis in order to keep myself well. And taking personal responsibility for my wellness and my recovery is like top on my list, because I know that if I don't put in the work to stay well, then I won't be well. The next key concept is education. There are several ways that you can educate yourself on your diagnosis. There are several things that you can just educate yourself on pertaining to you as a person in general. Sometimes, we can educate ourselves on our medication. We can educate ourselves on the physicians that we're seeing. Well, how do you educate yourself? You educate yourself by going on the internet, Googling up a specific topic. or you can get self-help books. You can educate yourself through CDs and DVDs. For me, my lived experience has been a very educational key. A lot of my lived experience has taught me what to do and what not to do. But I always urge my peers, if they have questions about the medication or if they have questions about their diagnosis, I always encourage them to educate themselves by doing the necessary research that they need to do so that they can better understand the things that they're dealing with. My fourth key concept is going to be self-advocacy. Self-advocacy simply means that you speak up for yourself. You find your voice and you begin to ask for the things that you may need or the things that you may want as it pertains to you and your wellness. A lot of times, some of us have been through some things where we have dealt with rejection and we have somehow lost our voice. We're afraid to ask for the things that we need, and we're afraid to express how we feel pertaining to how we're treated sometimes. So I think that self-advocacy is very important. It's a very important part of rap. Listen, we have to find our voice. And if you don't have a voice right now, it's okay. You can find a sponsor, a supporter or a sponsor, or somebody who can advocate for you until you can learn how to self-advocate for yourself. But just remember that self-advocating for yourself is very, very, very important. Nobody knows better than you what you need. Nobody knows better than you how you feel. So it's okay to use your voice. The fifth key concept is support. Support is a very big part of my rap. Like I said, I'm in recovery. It's very important that people know that when you're battling with mental health diagnoses or when you're battling with a substance abuse issue, it's hard to recover by yourself. It's good to have people in your life that support you, that affirm you, that will go to bat for you, that will go to your doctor's appointments with you, and that can help you through difficult feelings and difficult times. Supporters are a very vital part of your rap because, again, I just believe that you cannot get well by yourself, and this is where peer support often plays a big part in my rap. When I'm able to get with my peers and when I'm able to get with a family member or a church member and kind of talk some things through, or get people to kind of help me to deal with, a particular situation that I may be in. The good thing about being a support is just as many people that I have that support me, I also give the same support to my peers. So support is often a two-way street, and it's good to have people in your corner that will go to bat for you, people that will sympathize and empathize with you. So just remember that support is a very important key concept. So those were the 5 key concepts that I went over at the beginning of the video. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Wellness Toolbox. The Wellness Toolbox is a place where you would put all of the things that you need to do in order to keep yourself well. The things that you would do if you were having difficult times or emotions were coming up, or if you felt like you were in a crisis or you were about to be in a crisis. As you work your rap plan, you will begin to learn that if you apply the key concepts and if you do everything that's on your daily maintenance plan as close to possible, I mean, as much as you can do it. I know sometimes it's kind of hard for us to set a structure in a day's time and stick to it, but the Wellness Toolbox has so many different things inside of it. You deal with what you would do in the event your symptoms begin to show up. Part of my daily maintenance plan is making sure that I get up in the morning and that I meditate. Part of my daily maintenance plan is making sure that I do some sort of peer-to-peer or one-on-one throughout the day. Another part of my daily maintenance plan is making sure that I'm praying and that I'm meditating and that I'm making my meetings. So your daily maintenance plan is the thing that you would try to do every day on a regular basis in order to keep yourself well. And again, there are all types of things that you can put into your toolbox. Diversionary activities can go into your toolbox. These are the things that you would do that would divert your attention from unwanted feelings, or just help you to get out a bad place that you may be in, when unwanted feelings come up. There are diversionary activities that you can do to kind of take your mind off of the things that you may be feeling. The next part of the wrap is triggers. Triggers are those things that generally cause us to feel a certain kind of way. We could be triggered by sounds, we could be triggered by dates, we could be triggered by people, we could be triggered by sounds. So triggers are very, very tricky, and it's very important that you know what your triggers are. For instance, one of my triggers at one time was anger. And with the trigger, I had to learn in rap that for every different thing that we face as far as triggers and early warning signs, we have to have an action plan. And that's kind of what I like about rap, because at the end of it is wellness, recovery, action plan. So it means that everything that involves your wellness, you have to have an action plan. So when I would be triggered by anger, I knew that I had to activate my action plan. And generally, my action plan for my anger was back up, breathe, and be quiet. I practiced the 3 B's. And then I had to get to a place to where I was able to talk to somebody to get how I was feeling out. So one of the things, that you want to keep in mind is that when you're triggered, you want to have an action plan. Triggers are part of just about everything that we deal with, whether or not it's mental health, whether or not it's substance abuse, or whether or not it's just life just in general. It's good to know what your triggers are, and it's good to have an action plan for when these triggers come up. And you can develop that as you are putting your rap together. The next topic that I want to talk about is early warning signs. Early warning signs are those things that usually come after the triggers. Early warning signs are those things to let you know that things are not quite right and that things are beginning to digress. I guess that's the word that I can use. Early warning signs are those things that let you know that you're not well, that something is going on, and that you may be on the verge of being in a crisis. So just as triggers, you need to know what your early warning signs are. Whether it be uncontrollable crying, whether it's chain smoking, whether it's compulsive behavior. You have to know what your early warning signs are. And once you know what your early warning signs are in your rap, then you would prepare an action plan for those early warning signs. Listen, when you're dealing with rap, and again, it's wellness, recovery, action plan. These are the things that you have to do in order to keep yourself well. I believe, and it's because I've been working rap for almost 3 years, and through the grace of God, I haven't been institutionalized and I haven't had a hospital visit since '09. And I believe that a lot of the reason why that hasn't occurred is because I do everything on my daily maintenance plan. I believe that if you do everything that you put on your daily maintenance plan, then you have a better chance at staying well and not having crises or episodes. It's when we're not doing everything that's on our daily maintenance plan, or when we're not reacting the way that we should to the triggers and the early warning signs, is when we begin to get sick. So I always see it as it's like a downward spiral. It's almost like if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing on your daily maintenance plan, then you leave room for the triggers and you leave room for the early warning signs to come up and to cause problems. Generally, after triggers and early warning signs is when things start breaking down. Now, you have to understand that you have to put action behind your recovery. When you are triggered, if you are not activating your action plan for the triggers, and if you're not activating your action plan, when things begin to, when your early warning signs come up, then 9 times out of 10, it's sad to say, you more than likely may end up in crisis. The good thing about rap is rap works when you work it. You have to put in the action. Nobody's going to be responsible for your wellness and your recovery but you. So it's very important to know what your early warning signs are. It's very important to know what your triggers are. And it's very important to have an action plan in place to combat those things when they come up. And again, rap is very, very thorough. I like the fact that rap is a personalized plan that you would design just for you. No 2 people will ever have the same exact rap plan. What may work for one person may not work for me, and what may work for me may not work for somebody else. And that's what I like about rap, because you take the time and you put the things in your rap that you know will work for you. In the rap plan, it's like 9 different parts, and the first part is going to be your advanced directives. These are going to be the things that are going to be written down in your rap that you're going to need your supporters to follow to the T. A lot of times this part of the rap goes into activation. If you end up in the crisis, or if you end up in a hospital, or you end up in a treatment center or something like that, a lot of times this is when your actual supporters have to come in and make sure that your rap is being followed to the T with the advanced directives. One of the first things that you need to know when you're dealing with your advanced directives and when you are preparing your rap is you need to know what you're like when you're well. You need to be able to identify the feelings that correlate with you being well. Like for me, when I'm well, I'm talkative, I'm outgoing, I'm high-spirited, and I know when I'm well because it just kind of shows in my personality. I know when I'm in a good place and when I'm well and when I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing for myself in order to keep myself well. So I'm able to identify what I'm like when I'm well, as well as what I'm like when I'm not well. So the first part of it is knowing what you're like when you're well, so that when you're not well, your supporters would be able to know, that, you may be in the middle of a crisis and that this is the time that they may need to step in and kind of help you to get well. You also need to know the signs that you need. You also should know the signs when your supporters need to take over. A lot of times, when we are going through crisis, I know there are times when I think that I'm well and I'm really not well. And that's when the people that know me the most can tell, okay, something is going on with Tina. I probably need to go in and talk to her. Or maybe, I'm seeing signs. One of the things that I do as part of my rap and as part of my daily maintenance or weekly maintenance for me is I make sure that I get my hair and my nails done. So for me, my outside and my upkeep is a major part of me feeling well. So if I come to work one day and my makeup is not on or my lashes are not on and I have on sneakers and a t-shirt, 9 times out of 10, I'm in the middle of a crisis or I'm dealing with something. And my supporters, they know when I'm not well. It's very important, again, we talked about support, it's very important that your supporters know who you are. They pretty much have been around you long enough to kind of know when things are not quite right with you, and they're not afraid to step in and talk to you about what they may be seeing. The third part of the rap and this part of it, and again, it's 9 parts. The third part of it is the supporters in the roles. In your rap plan, you have a section that's designed just for your supporters. You will put your supporters, their information, how they're related to you, and the things that you need them to do. It's very important when you do your rap, and I always tell my peers that you make sure that you let your supporters know that they will be a part of your rap. It's also important to let your supporters know the things that you would need them to do while they're in the crisis. You want to make sure that each one of your supporters have very specific rules. Not rules. You want to make sure that your supporters have very specific instructions on what you would have them to do. You don't want to have 2 supporters doing the same thing. Like say for instance, if you go into the hospital and you want Aunt Sue to go and feed the dogs. Well, Aunt Sue's role while you're in the hospital will be to make sure that she goes over and she feeds your dogs, or you may have plants. So that's just like an example of some of the things that you can have your supporters to do for you while you are recovering or while you are going through your crisis. The fourth section of the 9 part of this part of the rap is the medications and the supplements. Listen, you always want to know what type of medication you're taking and what you're taking it for. This is the area in your rap where you would let the doctors know, whoever's treating you, the medications that you're on and why you're taking it. I like to put 4 and 5 together because 5 is treatment and complementary therapies, but these are the things that you would let the doctor know, or you would let the people that are treating you know, concerning your medication, if you need light therapy, or if there's any other therapy that you need that will complement what is already taking place with you while you are in the crisis or while you are in the hospital. The sixth part of the RAP is it talks about a home, and it talks about respite care. And 6 and 7 are separate, but 7 is hospital treatment and facilities. Where I work, we have an on-site respite care place. Respite care is a place where you can go when you are dealing with symptoms. And say, for instance, you don't necessarily want to go to the hospital, but you want to go somewhere where you can be treated, or somewhere where you can go and somebody can kind of help you to find the balance that you need at that time. Sometimes we may not need to go all the way into the hospital. Sometimes, respite care or respite center will work just as good depending upon the severity of your crisis. And again, RAP is designed to keep you from having to go into the hospital. I believe that if you're working your RAP, and if you have all of the 5 key concepts, and you're doing everything that you need to do on your daily maintenance plan, and if you're reaching in your wellness toolbox, and if you're using your diversionary activities, a lot of this can help you to get well and to stay well, and it could create a barrier between you and you having to go to the hospital. Part 8 of the crisis plan is help from others. This is the place where you would, kind of put in different areas or different things that you may need your supporters to do while you are in recovery and while you are getting back to normal, I guess is something that I could say. So this is a part to where everything is winding down in the RAP. And you need your other supporters to come in and maybe help you, with getting back into your house, or making sure that things are in order in your house. When you get home, you may need people to do different things like transport you from the hospital. And again, with this RAP plan being so individualized, some of you may get to this part of your RAP and some of you may not. It just all depends. But it's very important that you take the time to complete your RAP as thoroughly as possible. I also suggest that when you do your RAP, you do it when you're feeling well. When you're able to have a clear head, when you've already talked to your supporters and you already know what it is that you would need for them to do for you. And again, it's very, very thorough. Mary Ellen Copeland didn't miss anything as far as wellness and recovery and the things that we need to do either before a crisis, during crisis, and after crisis as well. The last step, which is step 9, which is inactivating your plan. Now, I don't know, a lot of people may not know this, but RAP can be a legally binding agreement. It could be a legally binding contract where you can get it notarized, you can get it stamped by a power of an attorney. And if anything was to happen, they would have to follow your RAP to the T. Whatever directives that you gave as far as your RAP is concerned, once you get it notarized and you get it stamped by Notary of a Republic, it becomes a legally binding agreement or a legally binding contract. And a lot of people may not know that. Then you have the post-crisis plan. This is the plan that you create once you come out of your crisis. This is the plan that you would follow, and I hate to use the word normal, but this is the plan that you would follow when things are beginning to come back around, when you are able to do the things on your daily maintenance plan again, when you are using your wellness tools, when you've gotten to the point where you're out of the crisis and you're ready to go back into, your regularly scheduled routines, whether it's work, whatever it is that you do on a regular basis. Only you know when it's time to inactivate your plan, and only you know when it's time to let your supporters know that you're okay, that you're doing better, and that you've come out of the crisis. And again, I love RAP, and like I said, I work a RAP of my own. I love the way that it's structured. I tell a lot of my peers that RAP works if you work it. So if you are having issues with your mental health diagnosis and you're having issues with being able to manage your symptoms, RAP would be a very, very, very good plan for you to develop for yourself. I also encourage my brothers and my sisters that are in recovery to also create a RAP plan, because Wellness is a part of your recovery. And for some of us, we have to go the extra mile to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do in order to stay well. And so RAP is a very good tool that can be used. And again, like I said, you can create a RAP for almost anything. Find someone that has a RAP plan that can maybe walk you through the process of creating a RAP plan. So that was my spiel on RAP today, and I hope that you got something out of my presentation. And just know that if you have a RAP, if you work it, you can and you will get well and stay well. Thank you.